I'm asleep recently, I've been having some straight up wonky dreams. An overweight Italian man taking edibles to beat up a giant turtle? Where am I getting this stuff from? I've also been sleepwalking.
Whew. Now what I'm about to tell you, you may have never heard before. I like Mario 64. Where's the light? Huh. What is there to say that hasn't already been said? Nothing. I'm sure people have even already said that. It's a gaming icon to be sure, but not without its flaws. Just like everything else in the 90s. Now, I wasn't alive when the game came out back then. I'm not 40. I only just recently got my hands on it, but you better believe I think it's a groundbreaking game. For the 90s. Yeah, what's new is kinda old and has a horrible camera. But that's not to say it's not a good game. It's still a fantastic game that shaped the entire 3D genre as a whole. But those water controls, man. Still, no matter how much flack I throw at the game, it's legit one of the pillars in gaming history. Never before have we had a true 3D Mario experience. This doesn't count, this is scary looking. 64 was the first to do so many things, and although it wasn't technically the first 3D platformer, 64 did to 3D platforming what my uncle wants to do to America. Revolutionize it. Lock your doors. It's safe to say without 64, 3D games as a whole would look a lot different. Even today, you can see how games take inspiration and build off of 64. Sometimes taking a bit too much inspiration. I can't even tell the difference. Dang clones. But you may say, wasn't 64 the first to do just about everything? And to that, you're right, but being first has its ups and downs. Mainly downs, because get this, it was the first. Not everything was nailed down right. The camera, swimming controls, just about everything feels a bit dated because this thing has gone on a lot of dates. But don't get me wrong, this is one solid game. Everything from the innovative mechanics, minus you, catchy soundtrack, and great pace. I've got a hunch that this thing is called one of the greatest games of all time for a reason. But I can't go on without mentioning the iconic soundtrack. Music to my ears. Literally, every song is near perfect, and even if we do hear some a bit frequently, every track does an excellent job at immersing you into the level. Whoa! Facial hair? Finally! Wait a minute. Ominous music? Low polygon counts? Oh no. No, no, no! Oh, it's just a turtle. Eating a peach! But what has stood the test of time the most has to be the level. Although I've played these things to death, it's insane how replayable these are. From grassy fields to snowy mountains to snowy mountains, these levels have a lot of variety. For the 90s. Good, just ever since we've been beaten upside the head with the traditional grass, sand, snow, water, and lava levels, the wow factor has worn off a bit. What good are the levels if everything in between is lame? Well, still good, they're great. But who wants some basic level select screen when you can have some good old-fashioned medieval architecture? No, not the thumbscrew torture device, Peach's Castle. It's debated if the hub world was an actual developer choice or was simply just to pad out the runtime. And I personally think it's a bit of both. Seeing that they only had a handful of levels, they needed to make sure people couldn't beat this thing 100% in under 2 hours. What the? But godlike skill aside, the hub has to be one of the most iconic in gaming history. And although I prefer Galaxy's Comet Observatory for the chill vibe, space theme, and soundtrack, Peach's Castle is simply perfection with every room and staircase flowing seamlessly, except for this one. What is this? Now, of course, you can make the argument that it's not all that it's cracked up to be, like how the castle's just a bit unrealistic. And over here we have the... Ah! It's more a cool vehicle getting you from level to level, because in reality, a linear level select is kinda buns. Mario Galaxy 2... Sorry, I have a bit of a bad cough. Mario Galaxy's 2 level select is buns! But why does a literal time staller matter on how good a game is? Well, when it comes to platforming games like Mario, I'd say simple charm like a level select mechanic is really what elevates each game above the rest. Levels can only be so good, and even 64 has a few stinkers that are the bane of my existence. But they didn't need to make an entire castle with a courtyard, drawbridge, and an MF cannon, but they did, cause it's awesome. Now I can accept, even applaud the implementation of Peach's Castle, even if it was just to pad out time. But let's not act like 64 doesn't pull some major shifty stuff just to bump that runtime up. Case in point, that dang boot out system. Yeah. Every time you get a star, it kicks you out of the level just as you were getting those stubby Italian legs going. Imagine all that build up, all that momentum over the past few minutes, just being snatched away like that! Oh, it's the beginning! How did I sleepwalk with a fully inflated mattress? Well, in the spirit of beginnings, I'd say the beginning of 64 is oh so very pretty good. It's doing a whole lot more under the hood than you may realize. Seeing that this was the first 3D Mario and shoot, first 3D game for most people, the beginning is nothing short of perfection. We're flown around the castle in a great establishing shot with music that just gets you excited to repeatedly fall off the sides of these maps. A lot. But at the start, there's nothing to fall off of. In fact, there's no danger at all, unless you don't know how to swim. Once Mario hops out of his honestly confusing method of transportation, you're free to run and jump around for as long as you please. Seriously, take some time to test out your moves, hop in the pool, take a nap. Assuming you're fine with a methed out turtle kidnapping your girlfriend. The developers knew people needed time to get used to these all new controls 3D brought to the table, some of them hardcore sucking, but let you test them out without that darn impeding fear of death. But once you finally decide to enter the castle, you're met with an array of doors. Some with locks, some with stars, some with bigger stars, some with stars with numbers, some with no stars, and Mario's asleep. All presenting one question. What is the logic behind these things? Why would Bowser allow me to progressively work my way up the castle at a great pace just to defeat him? And also guess what's behind the door? As you peek your head into the only unlocked door, you see it. Literally nothing. Well, nothing except for a big old painting of bombs. You know, the usual. But not only had they must have bought the matte black glossy texture deluxe finish on the paintings that make them shimmer, hot damn! What a tragedy. But you can also jump into these things. This entire game really captures that childhood sense of wonder, like, what if I could jump into a painting? How cool would that be? Moving on, after selecting your first star, you're thrown into the first official level. And oh my goodness, has the music gotten old. Okay, I know it was groundbreaking that they could even fit all this music into this tiny cartridge, but good golly, have I heard this song hundreds of times. And although it's honestly just a small gripe due to the fact that I've played this game so much, hint hint, because I like it, I really only mean when you hear it outside of the level. That's right, the track Bomb on Battlefield for the level Bomb on Battlefield is used outside of the level 3 times. So doing some game theory level math, out of the 15 levels, you hear this track 27% of the time. That's a lot. So it sadly just starts to feel old. Like, you better believe I'm bopped with the music, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. But in a vacuum, this is a great piece of music for a great level. Seriously, this is one of the best levels in all of gaming history. As you're cast into this brand new world, the devs assume you haven't spent 10,000 hours playing other platformers, so they make your task rather apparent. You see that huge mountain in the distance?
Scale it.
Along the way, you encounter Goombas, which are looking odd. Do you need to see a doctor? And then we have to pass this big old boy. Well, that's not too bad. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Speeding past that disgrace of nature, you make your way up, all while getting used to the controls, and oh, just a mistake, no biggie. So you're getting used to the controls and learning how to, oh my goodness! So you're getting used to the controls and learning how to master the movement seamlessly, come on! At the top, you come across the first boss of the game, and these are where the game really shines. The first level having a boss? Now that is a good sign. Out of the possible 120 stars, how many bosses are there? 5. What the? Yeah, although there are technically 13 stars to get from bosses, it's just a Bowser fight 3 times, King Boo fight 3 times, and a reskinned Big Bullies. There's only actually 5 unique boss fights that stand out from the rest of the game. And although beating them is pretty easy, they haven't aged nearly as much as the rest of the controls and mechanics. They're still some of the highlights of the entire game for me. But bosses aside, how are the levels? Well, crazy enough, Mario 64 was planned to have a lot more levels than it did. But due to technical constraints, they had to shrink the level count down to 15, and most of them were actually really good. Keyword most of them. So instead of their levels being a one and done like usual, they said, oh screw it, let's just make a whole new genre of game called Collectathon. Basically collecting multiple stars inside one level. So basically the courses are called levels and the levels are called stars. Confused? Me too. A lot. But if the levels are good, then how are the stars? Well, as a whole, they're okay. You've got some great ones, you've got some okay ones, and you've got some that I've professionally coined as kill me. Let me run you down some of those. Snowman's lost his head in Cool Cool Mountain. Dear God, I put more effort into this than my sleep schedule, and just like that, I only ended up hurt and confused. Blast away the wall in Womp's Fortress. Pretty easy, if you have the internet, which I don't in 1996. You're supposed to fire at a wall randomly, and I hope you got your lucky pants on because it could be anywhere. Anything in Dire Dire Docks, minus the music, this entire level can suck a lemon. The water controls, oh baby, don't even get me started. Anything in Wet Dry World, anything in Rainbow Ride, anything in... Oh, we're done. Gotta watch that blood pressure. But all in all, some of these levels I straight up refuse to play. Rainbow Ride is a sitting simulator, Wet Dry World is a swimming simulator, and Dire Dire Docks is a swimming simulator, with 100-pound weights chained to your feet and a Russian guy kicking you in the balls. Sorry, I got a little personal there. Some of these levels just aren't that good, but that's okay. The thing about Mario 64 is that it threw a lot at the wall and just hoped anything would stick. Luckily, most did. some didn't. It could have just been an easy platforming game, but they decided to take risks, adding special abilities, secret off-the-wall stars, and open-ended levels. The thing is, most are good, if not a little dated, but I wouldn't want it any other way. Wait, do you hear that? Is that casino music? And it's a bop! Whoa! Yeah, I hate when this happens, but honestly, I can't complain. This is right on topic. Mario 64? DS. My personal favorite three-word combination right behind good job, son. It just sounds cool. The name is self-explanatory. It's Mario 64. DS. Now, you may have not even known there was a portable remaster for 64, and to that I'd say I wouldn't blame you. 8 whole years and 2 consoles after the original, they decided to release this bad boy to the public, and I'm sure it was nothing but confusion.
Hey kid, you want some Mario 64?
No. I've beaten that more times than I can count. I can only count to 3.
Oh, don't worry, I got something a little more your speed.
When you think of a handheld port, you don't normally think of a mechanical and graphical overhaul, do you? Cause I do, cause that's what they did. For one, they fixed my issue with the original in that there were too few bosses by adding 3 new ones. They also added 30 new stars, which are some of my favorites, reworked some of the older ones, making them actually enjoyable, added a few more courses, and oh yeah, changed the entirety of the gameplay. This time around, we have 4 characters to choose from: Mario, Luigi, a dinosaur, and a convicted felon, each with their own unique power-ups, meaning some stars are only possible using that character, which adds so many layers to the gameplay. But what has to be my absolute favorite change in DS is the beginning again. I know I already said the original was perfect, but this just elevates it somehow even more. You start a Mario game without the head honcho himself. Instead, you're a green lizard. Why? I don't know, but it's cool. It kind of sets up this mystery as to why Mario didn't return. Where is he? And we all know Mario games are known for paying off their plot points, so it should be no surprise we never get an explanation for how they're even trapped in the first place. But what has to be the biggest gripe with DS is that it has the cursed D-pad, meaning you can only go in 8 different directions. Now that is no problem to an experienced player, but with someone who's been playing DS my entire life, it is just a tiny bit of a setback. Now, even with that minor issue, I'll be the first to admit I'm more of a 64 DS kind of guy. A portable Mario experience with more content, better graphics, gambling? Dude, they peaked with this one. But it's easy to mix the two up, you know, with the whole Super, Mario, and 64 parts in there. But these two games are surprisingly different to one another. See, while 64 DS is this cute little Mario game, not much to it, the original 64 is a gosh dang conspiracy. Take it. Dude? Whoa! Oh yeah, sorry. Did I hear you say conspiracy? I mean, yeah, but it's about a game, not YouTube related, so I don't know how much you know about it.
Ha! Let me guess. L is real?
Yeah, how'd you know? Talk to me when you got a real conspiracy. Okay. Ever since the game's launch, people have been convinced our main man Luigi was in the game. Their evidence? A low-resolution block of text hiding above the fountain in the courtyard that read something. But the main theory is that it's spelled L is real 2401. People did what they did best and spent an ungodly amount of time trying to find a green plumber in a 24-year-old game. But it's just a wild conspiracy, right? None of this is actually true. Dude, 24 years and 1 month after the game released, it happened. While most people just logged onto Twitter that day and went, huh, L must be a real homie. It was the day everybody had been waiting for. L was real. Kinda, you just cut for time constraints. But that's not to say DS didn't have its own tricks up its sleeves, and by tricks I mean destroying my childhood. See, like every other kid back then, the only thing I cared about was a tall, skinny man. Waluigi! When I was just a small lad, I was 100% convinced he was real and in the game. Most likely due to my friend telling me he was 100% real and in the game. The rumor was, once you 100% the game, collecting all 120 stars and invading all the bunny's privacy, you travel to this little dark spot on the side of the castle. Once you hop in, you'd fight Petey Piranha Plant and gain access to the second Ouija. Back then, my friend even told me he fought the boss battle! I was lied to my whole life! There was so much mystery and intrigue, theories and speculation, then I got the internet. And nothing's ever been the same. See, where video game rumors back then were all word of mouth and nothing was ever 100% certain, the internet gave us this horrible thing called reality. Wanna know when the next Mario game's coming out? The moon isn't real. Oh god. But that's enough Goomba genocide for me today, so if you don't mind, I'm gonna pack this thing up.
Hello? Come and play with me.
What?
Come and play with me.
I don't want to.
I said to come and play with me, weakling.
But that's not too bad, right? I'm just gonna hop into a level to cool my mind off. That's That's enough of that. But no matter the Waluigi theories or the uncomfortably talkative Mario, what has to be the most troublesome new inclusion in Mario 64 DS were the mini-games. They seem normal, right? Just fun little additions that are fun to play every now and then? Wrong. Yeah, this game gave me a gambling addiction. But I'll have to win at some point, right? But it was actually pretty cool what they added here. You can access these mini-games through the main menu or even in-game. There you had a lot to choose from. Some easy, some super easy, and some unique. Ah! But I honestly think the additions they made in DS make it the definitive edition of Mario 64. DS. And don't get me wrong, the original laid out a more than solid foundation, but is just a bit too dated for my liking. Of course, I'll still go back and check it out every now and then, but if I want to fill that Mario 64 urge I have every Tuesday, 64DS just seems the right way to go. I mean, they even fixed those horrendous camera controls. I don't know about you, but that was the deal breaker. But in all, Mario 64 is and will always be an incredible game. But I'm just more of a DS kind of guy, due to the upgraded graphics, ability to latch onto walls after a triple jump, thank God, and the all-new content that was added. Well, seems like I made my point. I'm gonna pull a good old-fashioned human and go to sleep. Good night, y'all.
What the f?